Cannondale's award-winning Synapse is the definition of the modern endurance bike, and innovation has always been at the core of the Synapse's design DNA. Does the 2022 model follow on, or could it be an innovation too far? It would have been very easy for Cannondale to ensure the Synapse's success by just using lessons learned from the brilliant Super 6 Evo and the System 6 to produce a modernised Synapse. It seems that wasn't on Cannondale's agenda for the 2022 model. Whereas previous incarnations of the Synapse kept a more race-like bike design, with this new version they've shifted far more to a real-world rider. Integrated lights and even a new Cannondale-specific version of Garmin's underrated Varia radar system make this bike truly unique in the world of off-the-peg endurance bikes. The frame's geometry has stayed much the same, save for a slightly longer wheelbase to accommodate larger tyre sizes. It ships with 30C tyres, has standard, and has the clearance of 35C tyres with 6mm of clearance either side. It can run the standard 30C tyres with full mudguards without any issues too. One of the biggest visual changes is the move to a drop seat stay design. That puts it in line with Cannondale's other offerings in the drop bar range. Let us know how this makes you feel in the comments. Elsewhere, changes are all about making the bike easy to live with. It forgoes complex internal routing that's become commonplace on pretty much every modern road bike in favour of a simpler routing through a large port in the down tube. They've also moved away from the integrated seat clamp of old in favour of a standard alloy ring binder and slotted seat tube. Finally, and this is big news for some of us at BikeRadar, Cannondale's original innovation, BB30, the press-fit bottom bracket shell, has gone. Here it's replaced with the good old threaded BSA standard bottom bracket. Now, depending on your point of view, this is either a series of good, sensible updates or a series of retrograde steps. Personally, I'm generally in favour of the changes. The simple seat binder stops any potential hassles of a wedge-type seat clamping. If you've ever lost the wedge of a seat clamp into the abyss of a seat tube, you'll know what I mean. The simpler cable routing also makes the Synapse the traveller's friend too. And whilst I know lots of people will rejoice at the BSA bottom bracket, I'm more even-minded. As a long-term Cannondale owner, with both a previous Synapse and a Slate, both equipped with BB30, I've never had any issues with creaks or squeaks, as some have reported. Our video manager Felix, who also rides the Synapse, has also never had an issue. With more fittings and larger clearances, you wouldn't expect the new Synapse to come close to the previous model's svelte, lightweight design. So it's quite a remarkable achievement that this new Synapse chassis is exactly the same weight as the 2018 model. The Synapse also brings Cannondale's proportional response construction to the range for the first time. This method, first seen in the System 6, means each individual frame size has its own construction, for example, the tube diameters, to ensure that the biggest frame and the smallest frame ride exactly the same. Cannondale started bringing tech to their bikes a few years ago with the Smart Wheel sensor and app. These were designed in conjunction with Garmin. The Synapse takes the smart idea into a whole new realm with integrated lights and even a new Garmin-specific version of the underrated Varia radar system. The new Synapse range all share the same chassis, there's no high mod version yet, and all bar the base model, that's the £2,400 Carbon 4, come with a suffix in the name. Ranging from the Carbon 3L at £3,200, where the L stands for lights, the Carbon 2RL, which I'm testing here, which means radar light, and the three top models, RLE, radar, lights, electronic, denoting they have an electronic group set. The heart of the SmartSense system is the down-tube mounted power pack with a claimed 5-hour runtime on standard mode. That goes down to 2 hours 45 on the highest setting or 20 hours on the battery save mode. The power pack is fully charged from empty in just shy of 3 hours with any USB-C charger and will stay charged on standby for 150 days, just in case you ever spend that much time off the bike. The battery can also be used as a USB-C charging source when it's disconnected from the bike's down-tube mounting point. The power pack runs both front and rear lights and the Varia radar from one central source. It's a practical solution and it keeps things simple. The front light, called Foresight, and the rear are made in conjunction with Lesign, and it sits under the bar on a dedicated mount. The aluminium-bodied light packs 350 lumens, and on my bike this comes with the STVZO standard beam. The STVZO standard is a new set of German rules governing bicycle lights. The new standard outlines a beam shape that must feature a horizontal beam pattern with a cut-off so as not to dazzle other road users. The standard also outlaws blinking and flashing modes too. However, international versions of the bike come with a standard 350 lumen front light with no cutoff and flashing modes that can be accessed and set through the app. Although on darker lanes, that being cut off means more cautious approach when riding on unlit single car width lanes. The rear light has a potential 85 lumens and it wraps around the rear radar unit in a neat horseshoe shape. Its seat rail mounting is also rather neat, but it does mean that you can't run a seat pack though. But the new Synapse frame does have bento box mounts on the top tube for storage, so it's not really going to be an issue for some. The rear light has a motion sensor, so when you brake it brightens to alert those following you. It also rather cleverly works with the Varia rear-facing radar. On the radar, Garmin's Varia has been around for a fair few years now, and it's always been appreciated for what it does, but ironically, it stays rather under the radar for most riders. Varia is simply an on-bike radar system that detects approaching vehicles from up to 140 meters behind you. The bike comes with a Varia display mounted on the bars with 15 LEDs that progress from green to red as what's following you gets closer. It also has an audible warning too. Once I became used to the Varia system, I could appreciate its usefulness. More often than not, I was still checking over my shoulder as usual, but I did find it the most useful when riding at night, where it pays to just keep your eyes on the road rather than looking behind. With all the practical changes signifying what could be a worthy but dull bike, the new Synapse thankfully retains all the charm of its previous models. As soon as I stepped on board the 2022 Carbon 2, it felt welcomingly familiar. Cannondale has certainly taken the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" mantra to heart when it comes to this new creation. My 58cm test bike perfectly mirrors my 2014 Synapse's geometry, the 620mm stack height and 393mm reach. The wheelbase at 11mm over a metre is a little longer, but then this latest bike gets much more tyre clearance. The trail on the new bike is actually reduced down to 56mm from 58. This brings the handling responses in line with the legendary Super 6 Evo. The new Synapse has a real zip to it when you want to quickly make direction changes or correct your line mid-corner. This latest Synapse may be wrapped in sensible tech, suggesting quite the mature mindset for potential riders, but it has a wild side and responds with vigour when you want to give it real beans. It does, however, have an Achilles heel in this specification, and that's the rolling stock. The Vittoria Rubino Pro G2s in a generous 30C width meld with the frame's vibration damping to create a ride that's as smooth as you'd ever want. The tyres don't exactly light up when it comes to acceleration, however, and they're wrapped around some rather weighty wheels. The Carbon 2 RL comes equipped with Fulcrum's OEM Rapid Red 900 wheelset. That means an alloy rim that's shallow at 24mm with a decent internal measure of 22. They're designed as two-way fit, so you can run them with clinchers and inner tubes, as I am here, or with tubeless tapes and tyres. The internal width is ideal for shaping up the 30C tyres to their optimal dimensions. The overall 1950 gram a pair weight, however, does make them somewhat more noticeable, especially when the gradient starts to steepen. With some lighter wheels in place, the Synapse will put up a bit more sparkle in its climbing responses. I've no complaints about the quality of the wheels. The hubs are fuss-free, smooth, and the free hub picks up with enough zip to make the bike feel plenty responsive. There's no getting away from the fact that a few years ago, I'd have expected wheels of this level on bikes half the price. Shimano's mechanical Ultegra R8000 has been around and tested since 2017, so I don't really have much more to say on its performance. Rest assured, R8000 is the pinnacle of mechanical shifting. Easily a match for the price of your Dura-Ace, and it showcases superb shifting, great ergonomics, and great braking too. Cannondale haven't cut corners, and we have the full group set here, including the all-important Icetech rotors with their quiet running and rub-free performance. The 5034 chainset paired with the broad 1134 cassette is Endurance Bike Gold, plenty of range and a low-down gear for the steepest slopes. The inclusion of an Ultegra mechanical group shows just how pricing has increased in a relatively short period. The 2018 Cannondale Synapse Ultegra, the first to use the R8000 group set, retailed at £2,699 with alloy wheels and alloy components. In 4 years, the price has increased by £1,300. Even considering the Synapse's extra tech, that's still quite the price hike, and it's largely the same for Cannondale's rivals. The Synapse 2 RL's equipment is all good, sensible stuff. The fabric scoop saddle is an established classic and one seriously comfortable perch. The Cannondale 3 seat post is a standard alloy post with an offset clamp. Cannondale have also reverted the Synapse to 27.2 diameter post rather than the skinny 25.4 of old. It means there are plenty of upgrade options out there. Just make sure you find one where the cable for the light can be routed through the post and down into the seat tube. For a bike of the Synapse's ilk, I'd like to have seen a carbon post like the excellent Save Carbon on the old model. An alloy post on a 4 grand bike doesn't exactly kindle the value fires. The simple alloy stem and compact drop alloy bar are perfectly serviceable items. Those step up to the RLE model, and the bike's front end is transformed by the slick aero styling of the Save Carbon bar and the knot stem, as seen on the top end Evos and Topstones. Like the post, it's all tidy, serviceable stuff, but you'll see the same components on the £2,400 Synapse Carbon 4 or Cannondale's CAD alloy bikes. This may come across that I'm somewhat down on this particular new Synapse, and that's certainly not the case. I'd rather be testing a bike from the more affordable end of the range on launch than one that's been dressed up with the very best of the best. The new Synapse rightfully keeps its place as one of the best endurance bikes around. It's up there with the likes of Specialized Roubaix, Giants Defy and Cervelo's Caledonia. Its handling meets what I love about great road bikes, that compelling mix of sure-footed stability and fast handling. The addition of the tech extras is the icing on the cake, but I'd still be smitten with the Synapse's charms if it came shorn of all these safety-enriching extras. I like that Cannondale have bundled tech that helps real-world riders into a standard off-the-peg bike. The downside is that a lot of riders out there may already have really decent lights, so may see the system as unnecessary. It also means that the standard weight of the Cannondale 2 RL tested here on paper looks hefty compared to the competition. At 9.8 kilos, complete with the radar, lights, bottle cage, bottle, power pack, etc., it certainly sounds heavy. Though, add all the weight of those accessories to any of its rivals, and the two just looks competitive. At £4,000 for an Ultegra mechanical bike with alloy components and alloy wheels, the Synapse again doesn't look like the most competitively priced bike. One of its major rivals, the Specialized Roubaix, in the closely matched comp specification, comes in at £3,700 with alloy DT Swiss R470 wheels and a carbon seat post. When it all comes down to it, the new Synapse is a bold step. The team at Cannondale have embraced tech into the complete bike system, unlike anything we've ever seen on a road bike before. If the System 6 is Cannondale's F1 car and the Evo is its road-going supercar, then I'd say the Synapse is a big, fast, powerful GT with 90% of the speedster's charms, but it brings practicality for anyone looking not to race, but just looking to go far and fast. What do you think of the new Synapse? Finally, a bike designed for the everyday rider, or just more unwanted tech? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you know when we post a new video.